It's been 5 whole years since we got a brand new Sonic game, and I'm talking mainline Sonic game. Yes, we had Sonic Origins released for the 30th anniversary, but that was a pretty bad remake of 1, CD, 2, and 3. No, within these 5 years of that we were void of games, Sonic actually went on to bigger and better things. We've had two Sonic movies before the release of a game in this time, and honestly, the movies were really good. If you haven't seen them, I do recommend going to watch them at some time. There's going to be a third one, spoiler alert about that. There's a whole cinematic universe. However, with the positive reception that the movies have garnered, you have to realize that they have brought in new fans. They brought Sonic a new lease on life. People are reassociating Sonic not just with, gaming now, but with entertainment. He is still a massive icon. And with the movie's success, you're gonna get new fans. So Sonic Frontiers, well, we're finally getting a game. And Sonic Frontiers is a brand new mainline 3D Sonic game that introduces not just Sonic to this new audience, but a whole new system to a lot of its veteran players. So, in this video, of course, we're going to be reviewing Sonic Frontiers. I'm going to be talking about everything I liked, everything I didn't like about the game, how long it was, the music, the level design, and the open world combat. But before I jump into it, guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, be notified anytime I put out a new video, and comment, like, share, subscribe, and let me know how excited you are for Sonic Frontiers, if you're getting it, and what system you're getting it on. Thank you. So, like I stated, this is the first mainline Sonic game in 5 years. 5 years ago, we got Sonic Forces and Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania, everybody knows the story behind it, but Sonic Forces is a pretty divisive game within the fandom. Personally, I enjoyed the music, Infinite, and some of the level design in it. However, it never truly reached its potential, and I think that's why it's stuck somewhere between the middle. It felt like it was going to be a darker Sonic game or have more of a Generations influence, and it just never reached that. Sonic Frontiers, though, well, this is a game that is looking to do something completely new while keeping it familiar for fans of Sonic games. Let's kind of just talk about the open world. The open world I absolutely loved. I think Sonic Frontiers did it well. Personally, I think it was better than Breath of the Wild, but people are going to want my head for that. Look, the reason why I say this is two things. One, not only do I not like Breath of the Wild, I don't think Breath of the Wild is a good Zelda game. I feel like it forgot its core and it did whatever it wanted, and I just never truly connected with it. With Sonic Frontiers, I still felt like Sonic even in this open world, and I think that's important. It's staying true and integral to your character. That integrity is important. In the open world, you have all your abilities. You have your boost, you have your slide, you have your stomp, and you have the brand new combat system. The combat system, you learn new moves by gaining skill points, which you get from defeating enemies, breaking boxes, pulling off tricks, and, well, as you get more skill points, you learn more and more skills. Some skills are locked behind story missions, but other than that, they all are there to help you out in the brand new combat system. It's not enough to just jump and homing attack an enemy now, as they all have life bars or health bars. So, to talk about the combat, it's generally pretty simple. Most of the combat ranges from pressing square or Y with a mix between R2, R1, or one of the trigger shoulder buttons. Sonic can pull off hand-to-hand combat, he could pull off projectile attacks, and of course you could just homing attack if you want to. I really like learning new skills. I really have no qualms with it. I do think that sometimes it's too precise, the inputs. I call them FIFA inputs because one time I remember I double tap square, hit R2 for half a second, like maybe by accident, and I hit square and it did my projectile attack, and I was like, dude, like why is it so sensitive? But I mean, that's not a bad thing. I'm just letting you guys know. A lot of the enemies really cool. I think every Guardian was an amazing first experience. I mean, I'm thinking about the second or third Guardian you ever see, Asura. Dude, it just felt amazing. The vibe, the theming, the music behind it. I mean, it really felt like I was conquering this giant bad guy. Now, we also have to talk about Super Sonic. Super Sonic is available early in this game, as after every time you complete a level, you get to play as Super Sonic. All those are amazing. I'm not going to spoil how it goes, how each fight is, but the cinematics behind it, the experience, they really did an amazing job with the Super Sonic battles, and I think everyone's got to play just to experience it once. Now, let's talk about cyberspace. Cyberspace is basically zones and acts, and so we don't call it Act 1 anymore, Zone 1. Everything is kind of divided by 1 1, 1 2, 2 1, 2 2. So it turned into a Mario game. JK. But seriously, cyberspace is just the levels between, or the levels in every single world. You have to do 1 or 2 of them on every single island, but not playing all of them is not necessary. So let me talk about cyberspace, my likes and dislikes about it. My main likes about the cyberspace are that, well, it's classic Sonic, or classic modern Sonic. You have your full 3D levels that go into 2D sections or vice versa, and you have your full 2D levels. This is what most Sonic fans are going to be familiar with, and you know, there's not much to say that hasn't already been said with this style of game. Now, does it ever reach the Unleashed Day level peak? No, it does not. But there's a few things that it does really well. It does a lot of, it flows the Red Ring collection very well. You don't have to really go out of your way to find them. Levels are smooth. There's a lot of ode and throwbacks to some 3D Sonic game levels. I think my favorite one was 3-1, which was a Green Forest callback, but there's also Metal Harbor. There's a drifting level like Sonic Unleashed. I believe the desert level. But no matter what, it's still a Sonic level, and I enjoy it. But there's a lot of bad things about them as well. One, the first thing that anybody noticed, including myself, was that Sonic is a lot slower compared to how he is in the open world, and compared to how he is in every single other game. In cyberspace, he is really slow. My friend came in the stream once, watched, and she was like, why is he so slow? Like, is there something wrong with Sonic? And that's just how it is. Like, I had acceleration turned up to the max setting, and that was it. I mean, I'm not sure how to explain it. Maybe it was to make him easier. But the other thing is, he probably is slower because all the levels are very short. The S rank for most of these levels are between 50 seconds to a minute and 15 seconds. Now, look, everybody's not going to get an S rank, but you gotta realize that if the S rank is that short, and there are 30 levels total in the game, well, then there's not that much actual Sonic gameplay. Yes, there are a few levels that take 2 minutes and 25 seconds for an S rank, but my point is that with a slower Sonic and short time, you have to realize these levels are not that long. Now, again, not everybody's going for these S ranks, but that's just one of my own personal pet peeves. You may not like modern Sonic, or you may not like playing those kind of things. You only want to play the open world, which is good because only 1 or 2 of these levels are required. But at the same time, it's like, you know. The other thing that kind of threw me off is that homing attack got moved to a different button because the combat system took the homing button spot. It's not the same button anymore, and then it's not jump square or jump Y or whatever controller you play it on. It's now jump trigger, and it's just a bit weird. I didn't really find any control customizations. I guess I didn't look deep enough. That's on me. I kind of just accept. I usually just accept how a game lets me play it, and I have to learn it. But yeah, there's a bit of flow of Sonic in this game is not as smooth, and that's something that kind of bothered me as well. I like cyberspace, I like Sonic levels, but here they aren't my favorite levels. My favorite levels are, again, throwbacks or ode to other levels. Last but not least, the number one thing that bothered me is that there are only 4 backgrounds in this game. There's Green Hill Zone, Chemical Plant Zone, Sky Sanctuary, and let's call it Sonic Adventure 1-2 City background, because apparently Sonic only knows those levels. Cyberspace is supposed to be some type of digital understanding of, you know, comprehension, how his mind can understand it. And so he only understands 4 levels. That bothered me beyond belief. I mean, it was cool the very first world, like, oh shit, Sky Sanctuary, this. But after that, I was like, come on, man, like, it makes all the levels blend together. So yes, I may be ripping a lot on cyberspace. I still thought they were fun. I was seeking out every level I possibly could. But yeah, it is one of the weaker aspects of the game. Now, overall, for everything else, story, fantastic. I don't want to spoil anything about the story, but every character that was in Sonic Origins is in this game. They aren't expecting anybody to really know Sonic canon, to know any other characters, but if you do, there are a lot of odes, references, callbacks to other games, other adventures, and it really is a love letter to fans in that aspect. But story, characters, They did a great job. I personally didn't like the voice acting in this game. Yes, it's Roger Craig Smith. Everybody returned. It's all the same cast. But the direction they went in, it just didn't really connect with me. It didn't. I wasn't like, oh man, this sounds great. I was always like, huh, I wonder why they sound like that. But I get it. It's a more serious tone to fit for the story. I'm going to be playing the game in Japanese soon because I'm going to be doing a speed run. So maybe my opinion of that will change. But for now, I was pretty meh on the voice acting, but I love the story. Music, probably the best part of this game. Honestly, I cannot wait for the OST, original soundtrack, to drop. I need to listen to these songs because every song I listen to is a banger. And honestly, not just bangers, there's a wide variety of music. There's dubstep, there's piano, there's classical, there's remixes, there's every, like, it feels like every genre is in this game, and it's just so good. Trying to think what else. Oh, replayability. So this is the weird part of the game. There is replayability. After you beat the game, you get arcade mode. You can play through the levels instead of going through each level in each level in your save file. But replayability is how you make it. It does a very Zelda thing here. After you beat the game, you can only always fight the last boss. So you can't fight the other titans in the game. That's okay. You can always fight every guardian. They respawn, and they actually respawn if you come through a blood moon, Starfall. But yeah, depending on how much you do is how much you have left for the post game. There's Big the Cat fishing. There is obviously finding every level. There is finding every cutscene. So yes, there's main cutscenes and there's side cutscenes where you talk to the character within the island, and you also talk to the other new character introduced to the game, Sage. That's up to you if you want to do it while you're trying to beat the game, or you want to do it after you do the game. There is a lot to explore. These islands are huge. Some of the areas to get to are pretty hard. Sonic can run up slopes way better than Link can climb up anything in Breath of the Wild, but he will slip on ice. He can't really run. He can't even run up the slope anymore. You actually just fall down from it. There are some, let's call it Sonic Adventure 1 momentum-based slope movement tricks, which are really fun to do, but yeah, there are limitations to what you're going to be doing post-game. If you did a lot, you don't have as much to do. If you did a little, you have a lot to do. Now, one thing I did forget to mention before I end it is the overworld is super fun. You're way faster, like I said, compared to cyberspace, but there's a lot of elements of platforming in it. I mean, you have your grind rails, you have your ramps, you have, of course, your regular enemies for homing attack to get to higher areas. You have 2D sections within the whole open world 3D sections. They did a fantastic job on it. Everyone should really marvel on how they were able to fit Sonic in an open world and still fit the Sonic gameplay, the core intact. This is why I enjoy Sonic Frontiers over Breath of the Wild, because I knew and I felt like I was playing a Sonic game this whole time. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Again, you guys better be for the next video, because we're going to be talking about end game theories. Since I already completed the game, you know I've been writing stuff all day about it, and I can't wait for potential future DLC, how this game's going to be, and what they're going to do from here. Of course, they're going to definitely keep this engine, so there's going to at least be a Frontiers 2. However, overall, this is a great game. All Sonic fans should play it. New Sonic fans should play it. And if you're on the fence or looking for something open world that's between 25 to 30 hours, this is the game for you. It's nothing too complicated. It's not too hard, but it has that sense of platforming meets combat. And overall, I give the game an 8.5 out of 10. I would have given it a little bit higher if some of the levels were better, but the bosses carried the game, the music carries the game, and really, I had a fantastic experience with it where I couldn't put it down. Thank you.